Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have each and every one of you here joining us this evening on this Zoom about just what's happening right
I'm
now.
dying.
What, Addie?
I have like gut cramps.
Gut cramps are happening.
Yeah,
Good. So sorry.
it's all right.
Yeah, it's all freely allowed to be however it is. Just what's happening, however it's happening. Just what's happening isn't wrong or right. It's just what's happening. And a labeling of not liking it can happen. Nothing wrong with that. And so the question is, where are you in all this, in the gut cramps, in the things that we don't like? Are we even in this? Are we in the body? Yes, Don's nodding his head. Yes, yes, Michael, I'm in the body. Can feel that way. But when you actually go to look for your location, what do you find? It's mind blowing when you actually stop long enough to realize you don't know where you are. I mean, it's so taken for granted that you know, I am who I am and this is who I am and I have these beliefs and I have a story. But let's go past the story and the words and take a look. Can you actually find yourself anywhere?
Michael, that's what the seeking is all about. And it just wants to find a safe place to get a platform so that I could experience life from it, from this safe place. And there is no safe place because there's nothing that it ever finds.
Well, not only that, but the one that thinks it's looking for a safe place, that does that one exist?
No, it's just a thought running. reacting to life and pretending it's me and trying to convince others like it. It almost like finds like people looking in similar places that I could say that, yeah, this is the way. And we all kind of gather together sometimes and 10, 20, 30 years go by.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're still no closer to finding yourself.
No, because yeah, how could if this is the case, if this is the case that it's already here right now, this is it. And if that is the case, or is it just another thought about saying that it's nowhere that I can recognize, that the thought can recognize?
That seeker thing is like perfectly designed to waste decades and decades. And it does seem like the mind is, and maybe it's even innocent that it does this. The mind is just, it's almost like a, well, maybe I'm off the wall here, but like the caveman mind, it just wants us to not get eaten, but now it's like we're not in a world with saber-toothed tigers, thank goodness. And we probably don't need it to be so active.
Well,
And
but
yeah,
Stephanie, you see the mistake there, right? The mistake is the mind is assuming there's a you there that needs protection.
right.
So that's what we're doing at this meeting is we're investigating whether or not you are who you think you are. Mhm.
Well, the other thing I was thinking is that that Zoom meeting that's on your, I think it's on your app that I have on my phone. That was Jenny, Leela, David, and
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And someone asked David what was the most surprising thing, one of the most surprising things. And I kind of haven't had an aha from it where he said that he'd always felt like he was looking from something. I mean, because that's the way I think I'm looking, that there's an eye that's looking from, you know, from something. And then all of a sudden he realized, no, that's not true at all.
Yeah.
And and so I can't say that I am not looking from something, but I'm was pretty surprised to realize that I've been doing that that it's been happening that way for the whole time.
Yeah. So when you say I or we say I, what what do you mean? Like, well, let's just take a look at that. We
Well,
say I, what's behind that? Is there anything behind, or is it like a phantom?
it can't really be found in a way.
Hmm. So there can be an avoidance of seeing this. Like that's something Jenny and we all talked about on that Zoom you're referring to, Stephanie,
Mhm.
is an avoidance of seeing your true nature. It's like you're not done playing in the dream yet. There's more playing. But for some of us, there is no more playing. Like it, I want this wanted to be seen through. Is there a me here or is there not? And I've never found one. There's just nothing here. So I don't need to continue seeking. You know what I mean? It's if you've done it for 60 years, I'm, I'm convinced. So now it's a matter of, well, do I want to see that? Is that, maybe it's not acceptable to me. So let me go on pretending as if I am a person, a real entity in this body. But then you find maybe you can't even do that.
Mm.
So the thoughts are not your thoughts. They're just thoughts.
Mhm.
So is that possible? Is there space here? You know? Is there space here to have thoughts show up and they don't have to be mine?
Mhm.
I like to ask it as a question, you know, is there not, because I don't know. It's an inquiry. I don't know. Is there space here for just thoughts without me, without a Michael entity? I don't know. Let me see. Let's look into it ourselves directly.
Mm. Seems like this or me or life is happening, and then the thought appears. So the thought isn't prior to the life happening. It's almost like this is here right now. The happening is here. And then I'm in denial of it with the thought, or I'm accepting it with a thought. So one, both ways, it's just what's happening, but it's not. So if I'm believing that I am not the thoughts, not these feelings and emotions and sensations, projections, I'm the life that's happening right now, and everything that's appearing from it is is based on the awareness that's acknowledging it.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not acknowledging it, but
Yeah.
it's just is is that closer to something or not? I don't.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you, if you have a thought, are you not aware of it?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Yeah. And when when there's not a thought, are you aware of that too?
No, I'm aware that there's no object to be aware of, but there's no uh, absence of thought. It's just there's blank. It's just not. It's it's almost like there's life happening, and the life thought is describing what's happening one way or another. It's
Well,
uh,
right. But
maybe
what's
restate that. Yeah.
well, that's good. No, let's look into that. So yeah, thoughts are describing what's happening. Is that true? Is what the thoughts say is happening really, is that really what's happening? What our thoughts tell
No,
us is happening,
no, it's just a description from its conditioning that it's picked up along the way. And so
bas-
it's just
basically.
like any other word, we put a word to it, whatever it is. And that's why Amor calls it a certain way of
Well,
describing this show.
Paul Hederman, one of the things that he said that I loved was that there's a lot of spaces. Um, uh, and I just heard this once, and I might be describing it wrong, but like there's this underlying everythingness, and then there's the thoughts describing stuff. But there's a lot of spaces where there's nothing going on. That it's not always in the driver's seat. Like it spaces out a lot where there's there's not a constant dialogue of things going on. There's huge spaces where nothing's going on. Just, driving the car or whatever. I don't know if it made sense, but
You know, I'm aware of my thoughts. You're aware of your thoughts, right? Your thoughts aren't aware of you.
Right.
mhm.
So you're aware of your refrigerator. Is your refrigerator aware of you?
No.
Now apply that to every object.
Only when I pass by it and it kind of
Yeah,
dates.
yeah, yeah. Mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But it's something, again, we can notice if we're interested, that you're aware of the clock on the wall. The clock on the wall is not aware of you. So what is that that's aware of the thought and the body and the feelings and everything? What is that?
Does words do it justice?
Yeah, and is it personal? Right, Manny? Do
No,
words do it justice? And is it personal? Does anyone own this awareness? Is it
no,
owned? I don't feel
no.
like it doesn't even feel like it. It feels unowned.
If there's just one,
Yeah,
how could it be?
exactly.
Yeah. So many billions of awarenesses that are owned by each individual.
It doesn't even make sense.
No.
That's big business there.
So
And so, what's aware right now of this meeting? What is aware that there's a Zoom meeting even happening?
sort of as the awareness itself.
So, is the awareness separate from the appearances?
tricky one.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'd say it's different in vibration or in resonance.
Or it is and it isn't, because without awareness, it wouldn't exist.
Maybe there is no what. Maybe it's just aware and there is no what. The what may imply there's something that is aware, but maybe it's just awareing or aware, and that's it. There's no what.
Come on, Harvey, that's way too simple.
Well, I find that way too complicated.
You're both right.
It actually sounds a little like Yoda. So there is no there is what? There is no what. Hmm.
That's a hard one, Michael, because whatever we say, even we bring up awareness or source or the infinite or the absolute, or they're just words, and the pointers aren't the thing. So, and you're saying, what's the name of the thing? and and there is, it's everything. happening right now. It's almost like a flow of life
Mm.
without the commentator saying what it is. It's a wild guess.
But who is that commentator? Because we know there's a commentator, but it can't be separate at the same time. But we know there's a commentator.
Yeah.
So what is that commentator?
And it's just thought and creates a story and concepts, an idea. And who is it? It's
It's nothing. Say it. It's so funny. We don't
oh,
want to admit it. It's so funny how we dodge and dance around.
emptiness, emptiness. I'll go there.
Yeah. Oh, Addie says I don't know. Good, Addie.
But that's what it all comes down to. We just don't know.
Oh,
And
I
we
know.
never know.
Yeah. No, I know that. Yeah, but the unknowing isn't for somebody. It's not personal. So
Right.
there's no one that knows and there's no one that doesn't know. Addie, ha ha, I got an A. Yes.
So
Yes,
who's
you got everybody gets an A. Like A for already. Yay. You're already this. You're already the awareness that we're speaking of.
Hmm.
That's what the masters were saying. That's what Ramana Maharshi was saying. That's what they were all saying. You are the awareness already done. You don't come and go. The thoughts come and go, the feeling, everything is transient.
Hmm. When that's happening, that flow is happening, and there's no grabbing onto by anyone that's d- trying to figure it out, trying to be safe with something.
Yeah. Yeah. Try it. Try and be safe. Go for it. Do
Yeah.
all your tries. I I have to tell you, I failed miserably. I get an F
Yeah.
because I just couldn't do it.
Mm.
Like all the greatest things are always from unknowing. You know, that like I was thinking about songwriters, think of all the glorious music that's come out from humanity. I mean, countless gorgeous songs and music and lullabies and melodies.
That's what always amazes me is that there have been you know, millions of songs with millions of variations, and yet today there's music that I hear that's just absolute. It's like totally modern music and it's just beautiful and different, you know. And you'd think that they would have sung them all or done them all, or but obviously not.
Well, how about the alphabet? How do you get all these words from 26 letters?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. Mm.
You know, what we're talking about reminds me too of that. Did you ever see that movie about Wolfgang Mozart? And I can't think of the name of it.
Amadeus?
Amadeus. Okay, so he was at one point he was playing this song of the guy of his
Enemy.
competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and enemy. Yeah. And he played it and he goes, "Well, no, wouldn't it be better like this, and because and then you just got the feeling that it just kind of arrived with him, whereas his competitor worked at it and
Hmm.
slaved at it, and so it was real mechanical and dead. And his work was so beautiful, and it just came to him, and that's I always feel like I'm like after I heard that Zoom meeting of you and Jenny and David, I had this horrendous desire to start seeking again. It's like I wanted to seek. I wanted to geek out like Jenny, where everything is just amazing, because that was why was a seeker in the first place, because I wanted to, it's almost like being on a drug or something. It's like everything is like beautiful and wonderful. And that's kind of what I thought seeking was. And so, anyway, I noticed I had this urge to seek because I was listening to it coming back from Seattle. So I listened to your thing over and over. And yeah, so the bug bit me again, the seeker bug. It's so,
Wow. Well,
heaven forbid.
that's a first.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
want,
Thank you for your honesty, Stephanie. That was really beautiful. And me too. Co carbon copy of what you
yeah.
just said. It's
Oh,
not,
good, good.
I'm getting it, and then I'll read a book or find some guru or somebody that I like, and I go, that's what I want. And I just give up myself so that's why I know so quickly I'll give myself up. Or,
Yeah.
just that's what I want. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for saying something too. I feel a little better about it. It's like finding a new food or I don't know,
You're right.
a new shirt or something. I don't know. It's um well, because when David was saying that he felt a kind of like a reverence or an adoration for this incredible, beautiful scam that was being played on us,
Ha ha ha.
that we think this is all, or whoever's getting it played on, um, which I don't even know now. I mean, the more I read, the more I get kind of confused.
Listen, it's so simple, it's not even funny. It's the scam, you're doing a scam on yourself because there's only you here.
Mm.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a tough one to swallow.
Uh,
But it always comes back to that, though.
Yeah.
It always comes back to that where it's not out there, it's right here. It, the blame of the other or whatever it is, it's a reflection. And I like something that I see or whatever it is, and then it kind of goes for it because it thinks it's it's in a better position to enjoy life than
that's it.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's the unlimited awareness, the infinite awareness, when projected through the mind, when projected through limitation and thoughts, it imagines it's separate. And so naturally, because it imagines it's separate, it seeks.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
seeks wholeness. But what it doesn't know is it's already wholeness.
Yeah.
But when you're viewing through the mind, which is like a dumbed down version, so it can be finite,
Mm.
if you will. And so as long as we keep looking through the mind, we're always going to have concepts, and there's always going to be the opposite, and we can get lost in that. So this is different. This is saying, well, you're already not the mind. You're what illuminates the mind. No you, no mind. Like, look at Harvey's picture. You guys see the sunlight? Oh,
Can't
Oh,
find. There he is.
oh, it went away.
there
Oh,
he is.
yeah.
There he is.
Where is
I'll be
he?
back.
Yeah. Do you mind, Harvey? We just want to, can
We
you?
want to look
Yeah,
at your
go
picture,
ahead, go
Harvey.
ahead.
Harvey, you're such a tease.
Yeah,
So look at the mind, but the light behind it. Like Harvey's picture is a good one because the awareness is sort of, it can appear if you're looking through the mind, like you're looking out, but it's just, you're the light. You're just pure illumination. That's it. That's all awareness is. It just illumines. It doesn't, it's not involved in likes and not likes, and it doesn't have any, like the sun. Think of the neutrality the sun has. Does the sun mind if it shines on a weed? Does it go, oh God, I'm wasting my sunlight on a weed? Or does it go, oh, oh yes, the rose, it is getting my sun and it's well deserved. No, the sun shines because that's what the sun does.
maybe the mind is like a prism and it takes the light, so metaphorically, and splits it. It looks like it splits it into separate
Yeah,
appearances, but it's actually all one, it's just one light. But again, the mind or whatever we call that is acting as the prism. And that's what
exactly.
that picture is really doing.
Perfect. But you can come back now. You're out of timeout. We want to see your
Come back,
cherubic
back,
face.
Harvey. Walk away from the light.
No, but that was perfect, Harvey. What you said is that it's like a filter, that when the light is streaming through the filter, it looks broken up into segments.
That is a really great illustration because light is white. It's white. And then the prism, poof, and it's all those colors. That's great.
It's like one of the things I might say, if you look at a cathedral window or the stained glass windows, and the light shines on the windows, and you see all different stories, like in churches, and we could say, well, it's the one light which is shining through there, making it look separate and telling the stories of the cathedral windows. But ultimately, in a way, there's a realization that you're not just looking at the cathedral windows, the light that's shining through it. You are the light. You're the whole thing. You are the light, and it's and that all of a sudden is that realization that that separation is not ultimately real. It just appears that way.
I wanted to ask Harvey what's real and what's apparently real, but not using the Vedanta way, or is there such a thing other than a concept of it?
in and the way I kind of, I bring this up in classes. Um, we often get into debates. People get into debates what's real and what's unreal, but those are just concepts that we overlay, and and it's useful to look at the possibility that what appears or what apparently appears is neither real nor unreal. That we need to put all the concepts to realize it may be beyond any concept of real or unreal. They're just labels.
Mhm.
And actually that forces a kind of duality because in our heads, if we say this is real, then there's that opposite that we bring up and we get stuck. So even in the attempt to try to define what's real or unreal, is that we immediately sort of implicitly assume separation.
What duality? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there's no real or unreal. It's just a thought.
Yeah, I always go back to the just is what there is simply what is. And even that's too many words.
Yeah.
But once the labels get in there, they're good for language. We talk about it, um, But I used to think, I used to debate real versus unreal. Is it both or is it neither? I actually say that to people because, again, without the labels, there is no real or unreal.
Mhm. And the seeker is seeking what's real so that it won't die.
Yeah, I wanted to add that the seeker is also building context. So it's framing it up. It's saying, I can't just accept what is. It has to have this flavor, or it has to be good or bad, or so it's even applying a story just by framing it up. Um, as you guys were talking, I was thinking about a story I heard from somebody sharing a near-death experience. So they got in a car crash or whatever, and were sharing what happened in the time they were away before they came back and alive again to tell their story. But the thing that really stood out to me was it was a long story, but the gist of it was he went and found himself at like this farmhouse and went inside, and all his dead relatives were there and his old pet dog, and so they're sitting around the table having dinner together, and he asks them, um, is this just what you guys do? He realizes he's in heaven or some altered state, and so he turns to one of his relatives and says, do you guys just meet up here and hang out together? And the answer was, no, we did it for you. So again, it just highlights this
Mhm.
compulsion we have to build context, to build this whole frame of reference. So they were just the light, being the light wherever they are. And yeah, that always stood out to me, that compulsion again to just build a story around it so that I can experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Who would you be without your story? What would you be?
Fucked.
What, Casey?
I said you'd be fucked.
You'd be fucked without your story?
Or
Bye
unfucked.
bye you at that point, right?
Maybe that's a good thing.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe you can use story when needed. When someone, you need to communicate. How do I
Like
get there?
practical,
Yeah,
like
practical
practical thing.
knowledge.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
Well, it is funny when somebody says, well, tell me about yourself. And really,
Hmm.
you just have to go, well, I went to college. I mean, and like it was just, it's the things that I notice that I say are just so, I don't know. I have a blue car. I mean, I don't know. You know,
Yeah, I know what you mean. They sound like a litany, like
it seems
a
so
list.
stupid. It's
Yeah.
like,
Who am I?
yeah, I mean, who am I
Yeah. Yeah.
really? Right?
Yeah.
Am I
Beautiful.
all of these things? I have a red dress. I mean, what is that? I don't know.
But that's beautiful, Stephanie. That's beautiful because, for so long, those answers were like seem normal. Like in society, you would give your
Yeah.
litany of, well, I was born in this town and,
Yeah.
on this date, and it would be all real to you. You would be taking it, but so now there's a lightness. Like you realize, oh, yeah, that's my story, but that's not what I am.
It's almost embarrassing. It's like when I talk about whatever my education was, and then all of a sudden, this happened to me not too long ago, and then I'm going, what are you do? It's like it was just it was just cringeworthy, like why are you doing that? So you want to impress them or something. I don't know, it's sad.
Oh, it's not sad. I can totally relate. You have to carry a flashlight in your pocket, and when the question comes up, just zap them, flash it right in their face. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm really about. The light.
The light. Yeah,
Yeah, just because. I was kind of struck by something said earlier. There's only you here, but we spent the first part of our conversation saying you're not here. So a little bit of a
Yeah.
paradox.
It is a paradox. Exactly. Bingo. Ding, ding, ding. So that means that there's nowhere to land. That's how that's heard here. That this is a paradox means it gives you nothing to land on. You can't say one way or the other. Am I here? Do I exist? Do I not exist? Am I not here?
Hmm.
So events and experiences are happening, but not to me, the one I believe I am, not the belief. It, life is just going on, and then again the thought comes up and takes ownership of it somehow.
Hmm.
Just
Right.
doesn't make sense.
But what is so there can be like space for that, like we can see is there space to allow the thoughts to do what they,
Mm,
like because
yeah.
if you're not the thought, if you're the awareness,
Mm,
there's way less interest in thoughts.
mm. Like the bird flying through the sky. Just
Exactly.
allow it to go, to do what it's.
And they're both happier. The bird is happy that you didn't mess with it, i.e. the thought.
Yeah.
It's happy to be the thought because that's what it is. It's showing up as even an uncomfortable thought, right? Let's say an uncomfortable thought shows up. What to do? Well, that's what's showing up. It is uncomfortable. So there's no denial, there's no pretending. But is there space here is there space for that uncomfortable thought? Is that possible?
Mm.
I apologize for quoting stuff, but like the other thing that you guys said in that Zoom meeting was Michael said that there was no longer such an animosity between you and your mind. That like if you just kind of let the mind do whatever the mind wanted to do, left it alone, it would more or less leave you alone. And that's the thing of it. Here's the thing of it though. I feel like I'm still so invested in being me. I mean, that or whatever that sometimes it's frustrating to come to this meeting because, um, I we're reading, Manny and I are reading so much stuff, and I just like I don't know what to think, and because there's nothing that all of the things that I thought were so stable and there's nothing specific to believe in, kind of. I don't know. I can't.
Yeah, exactly. No, you got that.
And
So,
that's kind of upsetting. Or not.
yes,
That's it. Nothing,
beautiful.
nothing to believe in. That's good.
Yeah, it's like there's so many things that I took for granted. Even just that thing of that, which I still believe that I'm coming from someone, and even knowing that intellectually, um, but that's a beginning. You got to start somewhere to just know that possibly I'm not coming from anything, or there's no I here.
Well, where are you starting from?
I don't know. If I'm totally honest, I don't know. I thought I knew. I mean, I have all these seeker ideas mixing around in there, and then I thought, well, there's consciousness, and it generates these action figures or rent-a-cars or whatever you want to call us, and but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah, but you're saying there's consciousness as if it's not you.
Oh yeah, I guess I am, huh? Yeah. Yeah, this separate thing called consciousness. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's
It's so funny. It's like consciousness saying, there's this thing called consciousness. You're already it. It's already done. That's the freedom. Turns out there was never, ever anything to seek, ever. Hey, see,
What happened to Casey?
we lost them.
Oh no.
Just took a big bong rip.
Oh, sorry, guys. Secondhand smoking.
I don't.
No, it's just nicotine.
Oh, no
Now
worries.
the
Oh,
All good.
That's what my
you've
students say. It's
fallen off.
just nicotine.
We thought you'd fallen off
it's just
the sofa
nicotine.
or something.
Most addicting thing, Yeah. But it's okay because there's no one addicted. I mean, there's a story, of course, so it's not good to smoke, but
Yeah.
See, there is just addiction for
just
no
addiction.
one.
Yeah.
There's less guilt over, oh my goodness, I can't believe I blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
Less of that.
Yeah.
Michael, I do like a morning meditation. It's just sort of my.
Dominic, can you speak up? We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to switch to my crappier headphones. I'll try to speak up. Not sure what to do. So my question is, in my morning meditation, uh, it came up as just with my eyes closed, reflecting on my experience, and it felt productive to consider just allowing myself to be awareness, right? So I'm holding space. And then I brought my focus to my body and just loving kindness towards my physicality, and that felt positive. I guess I'm just bringing this up because I wanted perspective on, am I a particular person having these focuses, or is there a practice wherein you can step into a field of awareness, a position where you're allowing a letting go? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the awareness is what's speaking right now.
Uh-huh.
The awareness is what's listening right now. So there's no separate people here.
And it's the awareness that's doing all of the spiritual practices and the meditations.
Mhm.
That's why it's called the cosmic joke.
It's trying to get an exercise to get to a better place, and then everything will be fine.
Yeah.
But now is not it.
Right.
Yeah.
You got it. You speak the truth, Manny. My truth.
Tell Stephanie that. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was fun.
Hmm. It's a hard one because we've all done the things that we've done, and it seems like we're making progress.
Yeah.
It feels better.
Yeah.
We can walk. Even you, Michael, you say it's a easier walk through life. It's a softer or more pleasant way of living life because you're not taking it personally, generally. But even the taking it personally is not an issue if I realize that it's just a concept or a thought.
Beautiful. Nice. That's it, Manny. You
Yeah, yeah.
taking it. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Casey.
I just said, yeah, I was agreeing.
Yeah. So it turns out taking it personally or not taking it personally is both awareness. And awareness is just a word. Like, I don't even know what that means. It's mystery upon mystery. But we forget it's a mystery and we start acting as if we know what it is. And that's when we get into trouble, so to say.
Yeah. The other hard one is that there must be a purpose.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Ooh, that one's
yeah.
what's the use if there's no purpose? It's just crazy.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, if you are eternal, what purpose, what does purpose mean to you if you're eternal?
If you're eternal, you're whole and complete already.
Yeah, okay.
You don't need anything.
You're everything. So
Yeah,
purpose doesn't even compute if you're everything.
yeah. But that again, is that a concept? In reading, see, that's what Don comes up with. Those kind, it's almost like,
Don.
and even Robert Schultzman,
Saltzman.
Saltzman, yeah. I've been reading a lot of his stuff, and he's questioning everything. You know how he is. It's just nothing is it other than what he thinks it is.
Yeah.
So that's where we're coming from, though. You know, we come to a place where I'm okay with this, and and I don't agree with that.
Yeah. 'Cause you have it your way. That's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing I realize. It's all on you. Like like you can go to your own intuition. You don't need me. You don't need Leela. You don't need Jenny. You don't need anybody. Just what is there right now, looking out your eyes. It's always there, ever present. Yeah, in fact, speaking of Leela, we were having a phone call today, and we were talking. I was saying to her how I notice at my meetings sometimes like questions will dominate. And in a way, like Leela said, yeah, questions are like a crack hit and avoidance
Mhm.
because the questions are endless. You can keep asking questions till the body takes its last breath.
Yeah.
It's almost like a weed. You try to pull the weed out and the seeds spread, and you come back and there's 20 more questions.
Exactly. Beautiful. Yeah, Dominic. So questions beget more questions. That's what we're seeing here. Questions beget more questions. And so this was not interested in that hamster wheel. I want to know what's already.
Well, what's already is the questions, asking questions, finding more questions. That's what is already. There isn't anything before that. That's all right. That's what's already. If the question is here now, that's already.
And there can also be, Don, noticing that the questions don't lead anywhere.
But again, is that right or wrong? And it's
Mm.
not.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. I'm
Yeah.
just saying there can be a noticing. That's what was seen here was my questions didn't achieve anything. Like even if you gave me a like think about, something that was shared that you got a little buzz off of. Like it was so deep. It was so penetrating. Like those can be juicy. I remember like highlighting, oh, that's a keeper, you know.
Then going over the highlights, just going over the highlights.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I did it too. But eventually, I began seeing that it was everything. All is this already. It's everything is it. So yeah, you're right, Don. Even asking the question is it too.
So is it okay to live asking the questions for 60, 70, 80 years, or just because that too is it?
Yeah.
Or just recognizing that full stop. Life is happening,
Yeah.
and the questions are coming up, and I could just notice them.
Great question. Great question. Really great question. I'm in that age group you mentioned, and I've been asking questions since day one. And I'll be asking them probably until I leave the body. And I can't imagine that there'd be anything wrong or not valid about that.
No.
That's what it is. That's what's happening.
Yes.
That's what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what's important here, because if we are asking questions all along and we're looking for answers and we keep trying to find the answers, not realizing that asking the question is what is here. That's the answer right there. It's even asking the question that is the answer. That was always the answer. And that's what's here.
Or another way to say it, Harvey, is the one that asked the question is also the one that answers the question.
Yeah.
It's like a costume party, right? Like if you took off the mask, it would all be the same. It would all be the awareness. But with the mask on, we can fool ourselves. We can think we're separate.
Yeah.
That can be a beautiful game.
It is. That's it. Leela, the play of God.
Yeah. This is a one wonderful group, you guys. It's hitting me now. It took 59 minutes to get here, but which is pretty quick for me. Better than 10 years. This is this is magical, like I always say. I don't know what happens here. I don't have a clue, but something seems to happen, and it doesn't seem like it comes from us per se, but something happens and it's magical, and I'm just really appreciative of it. It's really something feels real about this.
Go Harvey.
Harvey can't even say it. He's laughing so much.
The only thing I would say is that the dialoguing itself, the dialoguing is sort of brings forth a resonance, even though there's no real answers per se, but just talking or dialoguing is bringing forth that which all of us, quote unquote, are bringing or contributing to.
Yeah, beautiful. This is the infinite's expression right here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, each and every one of you, for coming tonight. What a joy. Mwah. Have a great evening, everybody.
Thanks, Michael.
Susan.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Michael. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
See you, everyone.